Take advantage of the Boxing King Media discount at Byd Sheffield. You can get this amazing car for £269 per month with a £269 deposit. Details in the description.
Boxing King Media, powered by BYD. Mr. Spencer Fearon, the knowledge, surrounded by a lot of colourful things in the background. Have you been at the? Have you took them from the carnival, Spencer?
No, I haven't, but there is a lot of stuff going on right now. You mean?
All right, okay. I just thought you might have just been at the carnival and just like grabbed a few bits and brought them home.
No.
No, no, good stuff. How's your Ramadan going?
Alhamdulillah, it's going really well, it's good. It's good. They say like the easier your fast gets, the closer you get to God. So I'm grateful that it's easy. It hasn't been difficult. Plus, it's early. These times now are like the times when, like, I don't know, 25 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, when the time that Maghrib, the prayer comes in really, it comes in really early. So it is like I've done my course, so I'm all right. It's all good.
Good stuff. We'll jump straight into the boxing because we saw some groundbreaking news yesterday, which has kind of shook up the boxing world, and no one seems to know what really is going on. I'm going to quote because I think this quote kind of sums up why it's so groundbreaking. Uh, the main man in boxing right now, His Excellency Turki Al Sheikh, has promised to crush everything in his new partnership with Dana White and TKO Boxing that they've just set up alongside Seller. From what it sounds like, they're going to have the best fight in the best. It's their own promotional entity. But where did you know? In fact, what I will say is, I remember you saying this. I interviewed you probably about a year ago when all this started, and I remember you saying that you almost kind of predicted that these guys, they'll have their own belt, their own league, their own everything. It pretty much looks like that. We've got the Ring Magazine belt, and obviously TKO Boxing, their own promotion company. So not a lot on the press release, but from what it sounds like, they're going solo. Is that how you're seeing it?
Um, Obviously, Dana White. I remember ages ago when I was saying this, right? And this was to Kugan Cassius. And this is 14 years ago. This is at Dylan White's second professional fight. And I was running Hard Knocks boxing promotion then. And I was saying to get rid of these magical O's, right? And I weren't even looking at things like on the blueprint of how things were in UFC, but to get rid of the magical O's because guys are so dependent on holding on to this O that they won't want to fight anybody. Famously, Ezra Charles fights a man called Charlie Burley, and Charlie Burley was greatly avoided. This is 1942, we're going back. June of 1942, right? He fights Charlie Burley. Charlie Burley is a famous guy for being avoided at middleweight by Sugar Ray Robinson and by other fighters as well. They avoided him. And Ezra Charles fights him twice within a month. But within that time of Ezra Charles fighting him within a month, Charlie Burley fights Holman Williams. At a time with something like 95 fights and 5 losses. He fights Holman Williams, gets the win over Holman Williams, and then goes on and fights Ezra Charles again. He loses 2 times to Ezra Charles. No shame in that because Ezra Charles is actually the bigger man. But that was at the time of the Murderer's Row. And I'm saying boxing needs to get back to that, where we don't care. The best are going to fight the best, right? Now we have an opportunity through His Excellency Turki Al Sheikh, where he's doing that anyway, right? But I was saying to you, one day we're going to get a solidified crown. I remember years ago when PBC were doing fantastic stuff and having all their fights in-house. And I said, they're going to invent their own crown. This is what I predicted. I thought PBC were the first to go there, but they didn't there. But Turki Al Sheikh has done it, and he's done it in a way where he knows that he can communicate directly with the fighters. So the best fighters, he'll just go to his aides, get me his number, I want to talk to him. Because he's that guy. He's very, very personable. That's what he does. He sees you, likes you, here's my number. And you want to talk boxing, right? But when you have that amount of power base, and you have a country behind you that are backing you, right? So they'll be able to do things. And now they're trying to say, like, well, let's go do this as a business. And I think as much as I don't know a lot about Dana White, but what I do know is that Francis Ngannou has left you and made records amounts of money with Turkey Al Sheikh, right? So I don't know, but I understand of that collaboration to say I'm going to put you as the front runner. Now it's kind of weird because I'm sure that Dana White went back and forth with Eddie Hearn a couple of times, went back and forth with famously with Oscar De La Hoya a few times. So I wonder how them men are feeling right now. Do you know what I mean? I wonder. You know what I mean? But what I am going to say is this: Dana White did try to start off firstly with boxing. It didn't work out for him, right? And then he went to UFC, right? And the promotional sides and everything else. You're still going to need a boxing person there, right? And we call it as it is. There is none more knowledgeable than Frank Warren in what Frank Warren does when it comes to the business aspect of boxing, in like building a fighter or getting a fighter ready and all the rest of it. If you want a ready-made, a Blue Peter Hales, what we've done earlier, fighter, then you can grab the best fighters and you can say, well, I want the best to fight the best. But then there's still going to be pivotal and integral roles of people who have to build talent to get to that point, right? Because what UFC have done is excellent. UFC's been excellent. But we have seen the wave right now where people are actually talking boxing, right? Constantly. I can't come out my house and people don't want to talk boxing who are not. They're just casual fans now want to talk boxing. No, they recognize you and want to talk, but now casual fans are speaking about this, and this is only a good thing, right? It's only a good thing. So, like, everybody involved in that should be commended. I'm looking forward to seeing the best fighting the best. And the major thing is this, as you know, I've got loads of personal relationships with loads of different fighters, right? Loads of different fighters who are high echelon fighters who come to me for advice and all the rest of it. What better thing now is like, you're at a certain level, but you're getting financially rewarded for it. And you're getting what you're meant to be getting. That's not a bad thing, is it?
So what do you think this means for like managers and promoters? Like obviously if it's the best fight and the best, a lot of top fighters are contractually signed to like say Matchroom, Eddie's got a lot of the American guys, Frank's got all the heavyweights. So like could they just block their fighters and say no, you're not fighting there?
No, I don't think they would do that because I think they're also going to do it for the integrity of the sport. And if the best are fighting the best and the best are aligned with certain managers, certain promoters are aligned that way, then I think everybody's going to have to come and kiss the ring. Let's be real. That's
No
what's
pun
going to happen.
intended.
No pun intended, but they're going to have to kiss the ring.
Okay. What do you think? Like, can you see them work? Because it's quite obvious if you read that press release, we're going to crush everyone. We're going to set up the biggest promotion and we're going all out basically. So that to me reads as it's a solo venture that doesn't include Matchroom or Queensbury. Um, I'm just trying to understand, like, how are you understanding it? Do you?
You know what? I'm not in a position. Listen, I'm not in a position to talk about that because I don't know. But if they say we're going to look to crush everybody, I thought they were nearly working with everybody anyway. You know what I
Like,
mean? The only ones that weren't kind of on board with PBC, right?
yeah.
Right. So when you say we're going to crush everyone, who else is there to crush?
Well, there's also this argument about Dana White because I was watching Paulie Malignaggi. He did a thing on his YouTube channel and he went
What's
in on Dana.
his
Uh,
channel?
Paulie Malignaggi's channel. It's called Paulie TV. It's quite a good
Yeah.
channel. He just talks on his phone, and he basically said that this is a guy that is known to. That's his Paulie's words, not mine. This guy is known to rob fighters, and fighters have left him. They're taking him to court. I know there's a big thing about sponsorships as well, where fighters are not allowed to have their own brand, like sponsors on the shorts. It's whatever's done is done through for example, the UFC. Obviously, he talked about Francis Ngannou obviously leaving and making life-changing money, like you said earlier. So, if that's the case, what do we say about that? And but this is a guy that's chosen. But at the same time, he's he bought a company for what a few million and turned it into $1 billion company. So he's doing something right.
Well, the thing about it is one thing I got to say is like I would say like well with Turkey Al Sheikh there's an integrity there, right? There's integrity where he's not in love with the business aspect of it. He's in love with fighting, and he wants to see the fighters that earn the best and get the best money, right? So nothing can be taken away from him. Now, him aligning with Dana White, even Dana White is going to have to know his place, because he has to know, like, right, even though Dana White, yeah, brainchild and blah, 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 and what you've done with UFC, but this is boxing. And he'll fall in line as well. They'll all fall in line. Let's be real.
So, do you think there's going to be a position where it's going to be a case of him just directly speaking to the fighters? Because obviously we know the way boxing works. You know, if a boxer's got a manager and a promoter, you know, he pays X amount to his manager, X amount to his promoter, then X amount to his trainer. So that by the time he gets the money, it's shaved off by, you know, could be up to 30-40% in some cases. So do you think he's trying to just cut that big chunk out and just let the money go to the fighter? Could that be it?
It could be, but what I'm going to say is this, right? If a fighter is to be fair and to be honest and say, like, this person was with me from the get-go, this person built me up, this person helped me with my fan base, this person made me take the correct fights for me to get to this point, I would say then you should reward loyalty. You should reward loyalty and the success of loyalty. You should reward that, right? You know what I mean? So that's what I believe. But not everyone's going to think that way. And so this why at this present moment is going to be very interesting, because now we're going to see who's low from who's not low. But the thing about it is this is going to be very difficult to turn your back on Turkey Al-Sheikh. But you've seen certain people who have tried to how can I put it? To kiss the backside of Turkey Al-Sheikh, right? And it hasn't lasted long. There's been certain people that have done that. Do you know what I mean?
Like who?
So
You're gonna name them?
But don't be silly. I'm not going to call no names, but there's certain people that have done, right? And it's kind of backfired. I don't need to burn no fires on nobody, because obviously they know who they are. And I'm saying this part here is this: it's like, if anybody just thought like Turkey Al-Sheikh's this idiot with a big bank balance and writing out checks left, right, and center, throwing them all around the place, then obviously you realize that that's not the case. Do you know what I mean? You could not be in that position of power and be an idiot. It's impossible, right? Because he hasn't come from royalty. He's been aligned to royalty. There is a difference, right? So what has come to him has not been bestowed on him, but been earned by him, right? So he's not an idiot, and he must know what he's doing. And right now, I'm not complaining. The reason why, because me as a fan, right, and as a sporting agent, and may I say a massive, massive big up to my guy and Brad Young, because he's just on fire right now for Al Arabiya in Saudi Arabia, right? He's on fire. They just beat Ronaldo's team. Al Arabiya beat Ronaldo's team on the weekend. So look at that one, right? So yeah, I'm saying, like, what's happening right now has never been done in boxing, right? And the thing is this, what's the brilliant thing is that of the takeover of the Ring magazine is because it's bringing it back to authenticity, right? If you know anything about the Ring magazine, right? Something that I would religiously get once a month, right? As a kid, religiously. I'm talking me as from an age of 10 years old, right? Religiously get, you know what I mean? The first one that was really, I held to my heart was when the Ring magazine would do the cutout posters, and it was Tommy Hearns versus Marvin Hagler. And that was 1985. So having that poster on my wall, then having my best mate, Country, with my beloved mate, my best friend, we're still best friends to this day. He had the Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvin Hagler poster. That was April of '87. He had that poster, and he bought the last Ring magazine. I couldn't get it, and then I swapped him a couple music tapes to get that poster. So do you understand? Them having the Ring magazine were trying to do the 8-weight champions, like 8 world titles in each division and 1 world champion. That's what they were trying to do back then. I don't know if they're going to try and revert back to that, because there's too many titles all over the place. But the major thing is that what the Ring magazine were trying to do then was the best fight the best. And now we're actually seeing it. In my lifetime, I'm actually seeing it. So I just wish them nothing but the best. And I'll be just happy just for me to be able to go along and witness these great fights that we are potentially going to have, because we had some fantastic fights already.
Indeed, definitely. I think you kind of summed it up nicely and kind of set it all up. We're probably going to find out more tomorrow when, Eddie Hearn does some media tomorrow. Before I let you go, I've just got to give you a shout out for allowing me to invite Virgil Ortiz in Riyadh last week, because a lot of people were surprised in the comments that, you picked him to lose, and I invited him over and he had no issue with it. So it was quite funny. It was quite a
No,
good interaction, and I'm sure
bro.
you're impressed with Virgil's response.
Yeah, Boxing King Media, I've known you way before you were doing Boxing King Media. You know what I mean?
Facts.
I just knew you when you was a king, right? So those things don't bother me, because the thing is, also, when somebody's just want to fight, this is how fighters need to not take things so personal. If somebody thinks like you're not going to win a fight, doesn't mean they don't like you. It doesn't mean like, it just means that they didn't think you was going to win a fight. That's my opinion. That's it. Do you know what I mean? But what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to disrespect someone and say, but such and such is going to beat you. No, I don't need to do it in front of your face, because that's when it can be seen as it's being personal. I don't want to do that. But big up, keep on doing what you're doing, and you know what I mean. And you're doing fantastic work. And also, let me just say a massive big up to BYD Lookers in Sheffield, because that guy Ryan Smith's a good guy, man. And it's like, yeah, I rate all of that. So, you know what I mean? Right now, everybody's building their dream. It seems like Turkey Al Sheikh is building his dream with boxing right now. And it's a fantastic time to be a boxing fan.
If you've not watched it, have you seen my interview with Miguel Cotto?
Miguel Cotto, yes, I've watched it. You're late.
Yeah. So yeah,
Very good.
if anyone,
You know what I
we're
mean?
not.
Just keep on doing those, because they are very, very interesting, because everybody's in the same mode. Oh, let's grab this person, let's grab that person. Da, da, da. But because it's a proper sit down, a proper walk through their lives, I'm really enjoying it, man. So keep it up, man.
Yeah, the next guest is big, so I'm gonna hopefully release that when the time's right. But my plan is eventually to do as many British fighters around the world. But I wanted to start the series with like big iconic names, and luckily I managed to get Bernard Hopkins and Cotto, and the guest 3 is pretty big as well. All right, thank you very much, Spencer.
Take care. God bless.
Listen, I got a question for you. Where can discipline take you? Discipline points you toward your goals.